Hey guys, welcome back to Sweat Equity. I want to start off the video first by thanking everyone who has subscribed to my channel. As of filming this, I have hit 1,000 subscribers. That is, a milestone, and I definitely appreciate everyone that has supported me through this journey. With that being said, today's video is going to be replacing the passenger side mirror because of no power adjustment. And I went ahead and just kind of did the lazy but also very effective diagnostic procedure with this, because if your mirror doesn't work, like the power adjustment, it doesn't necessarily mean that your mirror is the problem. It could be a blown fuse, it could be the switch is actually bad, it could be the wiring is bad. There's a few things that could cause that, but I am going to show you right now how I know that it is the mirror itself that's bad. So cut to that clip. Okay, I'm starting it right now. So as you can see, when I press the button for each of the 4 directions, you can hear the motor running in the mirror. So I know that it's getting power, everything is working except the mirror isn't moving. So we're gonna go ahead and replace it. This car I just recently purchased, and I went through as many things as I could to determine what was working, what wasn't working, and I did notice on my test drive that this mirror was not working. So I said I'll buy the car, but you have to do 2 things for me, which one thing was they were gonna replace this, but I kinda wanted to do it myself. So they ordered me a mirror, and they also gave me a credit to buy a second key for the car because I only had 1 key. So without further ado, let's get into this. So this is the mirror right here, and it is a Toyota Lexus part. That right there, if you can see that. And it is not the entire mirror. This mirror, you can get it in many different pieces. So basically this is just kind of the guts of the mirror. It does have a painted to match base, so you do have to know what color your car is to do this, but it just has the motor and then a bunch of wires for everything else to connect up, because there's the glass itself. I mean, it's heated, it has the dimming feature, it has blind spot monitors. So it's an expensive mirror glass, and if there's nothing wrong with that, then why would you need to pay extra for that? This was about $425 that the dealer paid for this just by itself, so it's not cheap. So basically we're going to go ahead and get into taking the door panel off, and I'm actually going to cut to some earlier footage of me doing that because I've already tried to make this video. So let's cut to that now. So you access all the wiring for the door. Now, do this at your own risk. You can very easily damage your door panel using the wrong tool. This being the wrong tool, I'll put a link in the description of what you probably should use, which would just be like a plastic or a nylon trim removal tool. But I'm just going to very carefully reach in here. I'm going to pop this cover out. Try not to drop it. And you kind of just look around. Generally, Toyotas at least will have the 1 Phillips screw right here, and there's generally going to be 2 more screws somewhere down in the middle area, like kind of give it strength when you pull in the door handle. You always have to pop the power window switch out. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully try to do this. And just gently pry it up, see, because usually the front is kind of like a hook So and you want to pry up from the other angle. Actually, in this case it wasn't. In this case it just presses right in. So we're going to just go ahead and unplug these two connectors. And there is one Phillips screw there, and you have that one right there. Okay, there is one more. If you just pop this little like piece of carpet out down in here, there is another Phillips. Generally you always have two somewhere down in this area. Some cars, they have like a door handle that kind of goes like vertically, and there's like a little cover that'll pop off and the screws will be in there. This car does it a little bit differently. Generally, like I said, it's two somewhere in the middle for like strength, and then you have the one up here by your actual like pull handle and the lock. At that point, now actually I do see one more right here, one extra one, a little rubber bumper. At this point, just try to reach under there and find a place where it's kind of sticking down a little bit and try to pull out. And that is the cover for that little light right there, so be careful of that. And then up here, I just want to just lift up, just like that. Yeah, so like this piece here, which probably does, yeah, this can pop out, but I usually try to just leave it on, and then you can just slip it up over, so when you go back, you're going to kind of slip it high and then push it down. But when you pull it away, you've got your handle right here. This should just pop out. There should be a couple of clips that you can just pull your handle right out and just leave that hang like that. All right, now that we have the door panel off, I'm just going to gently pop this cover out. It just has this one little clip, well actually it has two clips. Okay, so you actually don't have to do that. The mirror is actually sits up here. I'm not really paying attention to it. So we're going to need to just kind of pry this little cover off here. So basically there's three 10mm nuts that actually hold the mirror on, and with the window rolled up I can get on them. It might be easier to just go ahead and remove this, which actually is the mirror control ECU, because it's going to be a little hard to get to the bottom one. It's just two 10mm screws. So I'm just going to move that down, and actually this is going to be the mirror connection anyway. Just go ahead and take this cover off as well. And I've never replaced a mirror on this specific car before. This is just kind of how I would be doing this in my shop environment. You know, we're not going to be pulling up a repair manual if we don't need to. We're going to kind of just figure it out as we go. I see a little arrow right there. There we go. Just clips in, that's all. All right, so there's going to be a couple of cable holder inners. I can't think of what the actual term would be. So having some form of trim removal tool is going to be helpful for that. So I'm going to find that. It's going to pull this all the way off. Hopefully we can put that back on. It's just basically a vapor barrier. But now we can get on all of these. You can see just how little pressure it took to get them burglars. I'm literally just wrist loosening it. So keep that in mind when you go back. You don't need to tighten it any more than that. Now, generally, Toyota mirrors will always have a way of staying in place once all the bolts are out, but just be careful. Just kind of have your hand there when you're taking that last of the 3 or nuts off. It should stay in place. I'm probably gonna leave one of them on loosely until I'm ready to actually pull it off. The other thing that you want to remember is you may want to have a magnetic socket right here, because you're pulling this out of this cavity, and you know, if you drop it down in here, you'll be able to get it out, but it's going to be a little bit more work than if you just were careful and, you know, guided it out. It is at a downward angle, so gravity will be in your favor. Just like that. And yeah, like the bottom one it's coming out and it's staying up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just leave that one loosely threaded on there. I'm gonna see if I can find a trim tool. All right, so this is what I'm gonna go ahead and call a trim tool. It may have a slightly different name to some people. And this really isn't the best tool to use for something like this, although in this case there's not much I can do. So when you pry off a connector like this, which I'm just going to go ahead and do, you want to try to get behind it a little bit. The new mirror is going to come with a new wire harness, so this piece right here, which I'm going to destroy, pretty much taking it out, you're going to destroy it in this case because I really can't get anything behind this. But if you ever have a situation where you can go behind it and squeeze it with a pair of pliers, or even if you just kind of slid this up over it on the other side, and I can show you a little more in a minute, you'll save that clamp so you can reuse it. But they at least designed it in this case that if you do take this off, if you're replacing the mirror, which is not the only reason you'd be doing this, you know, because you might be painting the car or the door or something and you want to take the mirror off, but you will be replacing it if you replace the mirror. If I can just get behind that, there we go. So as you can see, I pretty much destroyed that. But if you get behind it and squeeze it in with some like needle nose pliers, you can pop this out without destroying it if you have to save that. I can go ahead, take the last one out. Carefully try not to drop it. You can just go ahead and pull it right off. Just guide the wire through and just kind of pay notice to where it's routed. It's basically just routed so that it does not get tangled up in the glass as it goes down. It kind of goes behind the window track. All right, so we've got the mirror off. Now we have to make this come apart. And that's the fun part. And that's being sarcastic. All right, so the first thing you're gonna need to do is pop out the glass, the mirror itself. What I usually try to do is move it down, just push it down to the lowest position, I guess. And if you have like a plastic trim tool, use that. I just don't have any here at the house. And you want to gently go in here and pry it loose. From the mechanism. All right. So basically these 4 little clips here, they clip over this. So you're just prying it away from that. And just obviously this is a very expensive piece of this mirror. All of this is expensive. So you want to be careful. And so we have these 2 wires right here. These are going to be for the heating element, I believe. I'm just going to pull that terminal off. And I don't think it's going to matter which way it goes, but it looks like the brown wire is on the bottom and the black with a red stripe is on top. So disconnect that. We have this actual connector. And it does have a little tab right there, which, let's see if I can just put my fingernail under that or push it. I think it just needs to get lifted up. Yeah. Disconnect that. And then so we got another one of those right up here. This one I think is definitely for the blind spot indicator. And you cannot mix those up because they have, you know, kind of like a female here and a male there, so you cannot, they kind of idiot proof it for you. So that is our glass. We'll set that off to the side. And now I'm seeing some Phillips screws. I'm going to go ahead and take these Phillips screws out. And yes, they may be JIS, Japanese Industrial Standard, not Phillips, but guess what? The Harbor Freight screwdriver is taking them out. I'm just going to do that one too. I'm pretty sure that's going to have to come out also. Now, I'm going to see, how does this, okay, that's coming off. All right, so that piece lifts away. Now we have this back. Okay, so this actually works differently than a lot of Toyota, like regular Toyota mirrors, because they actually, you have to, these are clipped on to this housing. There's no screws. So there is a difference, at least in this case. So now, right now, everything is free except this one connector, which is going to the outer turn signal. Now this might just, doesn't seem like it's just lifting out. I think it is free though. But I'm going to try to see if I can get in there. Here, let's see if I can do it this way. If you can see that. There we go. Alright, so now that's free. The turn signal stayed in, although this is just kind of like you could just easily unclip this right here. This is how the housing is normally attached. There's a whole bunch of these going around the whole surface. So that's how just the bottom piece is on here. So I'm just going to leave that like that. And I think this, well, this is the like the puddle light, I think they call it. So we'll unclip that. That, I'm pretty sure this is what I have in the box. Yeah, that's pretty much what we got. So I'm going to set the old dirty one off to the side. Now I'm going to say something that may seem idiotic to some of you, but you know, a lot of people, at least you know, people that are trying to save money like I do a lot of times, like if I was buying this myself, I might very well have bought a used one. And a used part, guess what? It looks dirty just like the part you just took off. So now in this case, yeah, you can just plug it in, see if it works. It's not that big of a deal. But like say it's something that you're replacing that's requires 2 hours to get to the part just to test it. Well, put a mark on your old part, put an X on it or something, so you know which one is which when all of a sudden you walk away because you have to pee or something. You know what I mean? So this is the new part, obviously, in this case, because it's brand new. It doesn't have any markings on it. So we're going to just go ahead and put this back in the way it came apart. Let's see. These are both... Did we remember which one of these was to that? I think the gray one goes to the gray. And the white one goes to the black, I guess. Okay. And this guy, I think, just probably snaps in place. Not sure how that goes in. Because this fits down in here. Pretty sure that this fits like that. It doesn't really lock into place until you get the front piece back on, because the other part of it fits right here. So we're going to kind of just have that roughly in place for now. Let's keep all of our wires that we still need to connect out of there. It's just those four, I think. Just kind of guide that base back in. And then these holes are supposed to line up in here. No, the light already came out. Yeah, okay, so you gotta have to kind of hold this light up a little bit. And once you do that, you should be able to get these all down flush. Alright, so now we're gonna bring this guy over, kind of keep the wires out, set that in there like that. Let everything fall into place. Don't try to force anything. If you're forcing it, guess what? Something's not right. This part down here looks like this here needs to slide in flush. It was kind of wanting to be a little bit below it. So see how it doesn't want to go down just yet. Just massage it. Just kind of be gentle and work it around. See, it's still kind of popped out a little bit there. Alright guys, I'm not gonna lie, this takes a little bit of patience. I struggle with getting this back together, so if you do the same, don't feel bad. I would just say make sure that this little light is in there, the connector is on this side of it. It kind of makes sense, but it doesn't really get held into place until this is screwed up. So you kind of have to keep your finger on that, and I would get this down here, like this corner, lined up first. Get that screw in, and then kind of work your way around, and you can get it back together. So now we just have to connect these guys, which, if I remember, black with a red stripe is on top, brown's on the bottom. Probably does not matter, but that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to connect these back up, which we can only do it one way. We can't cross these up. Let's make sure you hear them click. And this goes clips in there. You can bring this wire under this little tab right here, and then the same for this one. Press it in place, guide the wires up, just kind of guide the wires to be out of the way, and you're just going to try to line this up and press it down, and that's basically it. Yeah, see, I can still see that wire in there. But basically that's it. I'm going to try to hide that wire a little bit better, because that's going to, I probably won't be able to see it truthfully. But basically we're just going to go ahead and put it back on the car, plug it in. Operation is reverse of removal, and that should be it. So again, you can just kind of pop the mirror in. There will be a little like plastic tab that will hold it in place, so you don't have to continue to hold it. I'm going to just go ahead and put a nut on there just to be sure. The wire, make sure that it routes behind this piece right here. This is the window track that goes all the way up like this. So just kind of come through the hole and route it behind this. That way it doesn't interfere with your window. And just kind of guide this into place, clip it in there. That's going to connect to the computer. And basically I'm just going to go ahead and tighten all these 10 millimeters back up, and really just hand tight with this is probably all you need. I'm going to snug it just a little bit more, just with the wrist, just a little bit more. Just like that. Let's just go ahead and put all these little things back on that we took off. Didn't need to take this off, but pop it in there. And this does something like that. This goes there. Actually, let's put this little guy back first. Just helps keep moisture. It's a moisture barrier, vapor barrier. That's what this is, all this here too. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the door panel back on. All right, so pretty easy. Plug in your courtesy light at the bottom. Take the door handle, just fit it back in place. There's kind of like a little groove. Make sure that your two wire connectors for the window switch and the lock switch are coming up through the hole. And you kind of want to bring it up a little bit. You kind of need to pull the bottom out. The top needs to fit over this. So the little groove in here has to fit. I just can't even see. This little groove has to fit over this. And it's just being a little camera shy. Or camera stubborn, one of the two. Okay guys, yeah, some technical difficulties there, but I did go ahead and get the door panel back on. It's really not that big of a deal. Just for some reason I was having a little bit of a struggle there. But as you can see, the mirror is working fine. The blind spot indicator is lighting up. Everything is working the way it should be. So we got that taken care of. If you guys enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate you hitting the like button, smashing the subscribe button, and let's see if we can make it to 2,000 again. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.